We are also praying for the people of Puerto Rico. We love Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico. And we also love Puerto Rico.
Wow. Well, Donald Trump may get a kick out of pronouncing Puerto Rico, but the situation on the island, as well as the U.S. Virgin Islands, is no laughing matter. As of Saturday, only 10% of Puerto Rico has power, and just over half the island has access to drinking water. And these metrics, so important for monitoring the progress of recovery efforts, have now become harder to find. In an unprecedented step, at least for a democracy, the Federal Emergency Management Agency removed these stats from its page on Hurricane Maria, replacing them with ones that make the Trump administration look good. FEMA officials deny that they took down the stats in order to try to hide the lack of progress.
We'll include that on our website. I think that website you're referencing is focused more on the federal response, how many federal employees are being deployed in commodities and such. But there was certainly no intention to take it down.
No, because it was curious because it was there, and then all of a sudden there was more favorable data on grocery stores.
No, that's not the case. That's not the case.
Okay.
In fact, just because the data is getting better doesn't mean that we're trying to manipulate it.
As of now, a few of the metrics have reappeared on the FEMA website. And joining me now, Democratic Congressman Adriano Espaillat, who just came back from Puerto Rico, and Carmen Yulín Cruz, the mayor of San Juan. And Mayor, Madam Mayor, I'm going to go to you on this first. The Trump administration took down some of the statistics that we've all been using to try to measure the progress of the recovery efforts on the island. What we do know is that as of October 7th, only 7.7% of the island had power, 44% of Puerto Ricans have a cell service, and 55.5% have potable water. Can you give us an update on the ground and tell us what you think of those stats being taken down?
First of all, thank you for the opportunity, and my greetings to Congressman Espaillat, who was kind enough to be in San Juan last week. Well, it's not the statistics. I keep hearing all about statistics. Well, it isn't about that. It's about human lives. I had yesterday the mayor of Barceloneta, a town where most of the pharmaceuticals are, saying, look, we haven't seen anyone in Barceloneta that is trying to pull up our electrical system. We don't have enough food. We don't have enough water. We don't have any baby supplies. So the municipality of San Juan shared of some of what we've got. Just this morning, the mayor of Corozal, which is right in the path of where the hurricane's eye hit, said, look, I just don't have enough. That's why I keep talking about a robust and continuous supply chain of aid. We are doing much better in that sense because we're getting a lot of private donations. And whatever private donations San Juan gets, we share with everyone. And I had a conversation yesterday with the Office of the President of the Dominican Republic. They are sending 14 containers full of food and provisions to San Juan to be dealt with in San Juan, and also for us to distribute, not only for the Dominicans that live in Puerto Rico, but for the entire population. And that is one of 3 shipments that they are going to be sending. We have gotten stuff from New York, from Miami Beach, from California, from San Diego. The realities they're staring in the face. There's a line of A Few Good Men, the movie, that says the truth, you want the truth, you can't handle the truth. And that's exactly what is happening. Yesterday, around 9:30, 9:45 in the evening, I had a very good conversation with Assistant Secretary from Homeland Security. His name is John Bassa. He seemed to be a man that's a doer, that is not here to listen to what has been told from an air-conditioned building, but to be out there in the field and to just fill that disconnect gap. Yeah. So statistics, measuring humanitarian crises based on the people that died the day of the hurricane is a gross misunderstanding of what a humanitarian crisis is all about. And I have to say, I do not know. New York, we have an American flag in the Coliseum. We have it right smack in the middle. And it is a testament to the will, the power, and the generosity, especially of the people of New York City. So many brothers and sisters that have come to help and that are doing all they can and are helping, because it's not getting boots on the ground. It's making sure that the boots that you have here, the people that you have here, have what they need in order to make a difference.
And you know, as the Congressman,
but it sounds kind of fishy, don't you think?
It does. And you know, Congressman, you know, and I think there is obviously a great deal of love between New York and the island of Puerto Rico, because there's so many people here who are of Puerto Rican extraction, but just everyone here in New York. But when you hear the President of the United States and his administration focus on how many FEMA people they deployed, but you hear the mayor of San Juan saying, yeah, but they can be in Puerto Rico, but not in the right places, not seeing what they need to see. And then when you hear the president mocking an accent and laughing about Puerto Rico, I don't know, what do you think?
This is not a comedy show. This is a real humanitarian crisis that, going on our third week, continues to unfold. And I was there in San Juan with Carmen Yulín, and I saw her respond to a hospital where the generator went down, and 41 patients were there. 11 of them were on respirators and life support system. And by the time we got there to the hospitals, the ambulances were lined up to take them out to other hospitals. That's the kind of action we need on the ground. And I'm going now to northern Manhattan for a relief effort, and then later on to the Bronx, and was last week at Taino Towers in East Harlem. The entire city is coming around to support Puerto Rico. We're doing a better job than the federal administration.
But that's sad.
The people here in New York City are doing a better job than the federal administration.
Celebrities are being very proactive. Where is Congress in this? Is Paul Ryan going to do something in the House? Is there going to be a bill to deal with Puerto Rico's debt? There's been talk that, you know, maybe this crushing debt should be done away with. Maybe the Jones Act should be permanently repealed. Congress could help. What is Congress doing?
Well, I came out with a 10-point plan, which includes, first and foremost, immediate funding, right? And we didn't do it last week. We have to do it this week. We're going on the third week of this crisis. Carmen Yulín told us how municipalities have paid close to over $180 million towards the debt. We should return some of that money back, and we should put a moratorium on the debt. If the fat cats in Wall Street want their money back, they better make sure that Puerto Rico gets back on its feet. Otherwise, they get nothing. Yeah. And so this is important. This is important not only for the fiscal health of Puerto Rico, but for lives, saving lives. The official report is that 34 people have died. I sense that there may be more, unfortunately. Yeah. And this crisis continues to unfold every day. We're going on the third week, Joy. Yeah. Unacceptable.
Saving American lives, and people need to just remember that that is what this is about. Congressman Adriano Espaillat and San Juan Mayor Carmen Yulín Cruz, always a pleasure to talk to you both. Thank you. Thank you. And God bless both of you. And now I want to bring in Representative Stacey Plaskett of the Virgin Islands, and she's on the phone with me from St. Croix. And Representative Plaskett, the sort of big untold story here as we look at what's happened in the devastation in Puerto Rico is that there's also been devastation on the Virgin Islands, which we don't hear a lot about. Can you give us an update on the progress there?
Sure. Thanks so much. Well, as you're aware, you know, I've been coming back and forth home to the Virgin Islands, St. Thomas, St. John, and St. Croix, and also racing back up to D.C. as we're working on these supplementals and some of these other pieces of legislation. Yesterday, I came down to St. Croix with Vice President Pence. I think he got a really good overview of the progress that's been made in the Virgin Islands and the work that still needs to be done. My conversation with him on the plane in our briefings was that while we have been devastated, you know, both of our hospitals gone, 4 schools gone, lots of damage to other infrastructure buildings, ports, and never mind people's homes and lives, that we were already operating at a deficit. And that it is important for the federal government, and particularly Congress, who has the responsibility of the territories, to step up and create parity and equality for the territories, both Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, in the rebuilding, and to really put us on a playing field that will allow us to be self-sufficient and gain financial in maturity and in self-sufficiency in this process. How do we not just rebuild, but how do we leapfrog the technologies and the issues of energy, space, and time that have really kept us back from being all that we can be in the Caribbean basin. And I'm hoping that that message resonated with him. He seemed to be very compassionate and concerned about the people that he met and the conversations that he had. And we'll work from there. And
just to give folks an update, our producers here, the great producers at this show, did reach out to FEMA to try to get some statistics on what's happening in Virgin Islands. What we got back is that 20% of the residents in St. Thomas and St. John have power, only 20%. 8% of residents in St. Croix have power. 51% of cell coverage is operated. 31% of cell coverage is operating territory-wide. There's a boil water advisory in effect. There was a piece in the New York Times, Representative Plaskett, that talked about the fact that the Virgin Islands are often ignored by politicians. This was the quote: "They're not really on the radar," Sally Jewell, the Interior Secretary under Barack Obama, said when she would try to get members of Congress to take note of local issues in the Virgin Islands. She recalled she would be met with incredulity. They would say, "We're here to focus on the United States," and I'd say, they are in the United States. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and that's, that's my main drive in Washington, talking with members. I mean, Joy, just even this week, a piece of legislation came up in the Energy and Commerce Committee about reauthorizing the Child Health Insurance Program, CHIP. Everybody in the United States was talking about it and its support. There was language in there for Puerto Rico. They completely forgotten the Virgin Islands. I'm scrambling and trying to get them put in by a member to be willing to do that, so that the Virgin Islands can get the same.
Yeah. Congresswoman, I think we lost Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett. Thank you very much, Representative. Very quickly before we go, Congressman Espaillat, is that going to get addressed?
That should get addressed. The Virgin Islands is forgotten. They're part of the U.S. territories. They are American citizens. They got hit very hard. They don't have the infrastructure even that Puerto Rico has. So they got really hit hard by two hurricanes, not just Maria, but also Irma.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for your time, Congressman Espaillat. Appreciate it. And Representative Stacey Plaskett, thank you for your time. We did lose her on the phone, but thank you. All right, coming up, Donald Trump makes it harder for women to get birth control. Color me surprised. Stay with us.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.